Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome along to the Afternoon Rabble here on the Rangers Rabble Podcast, brought to you by the Rabble Network and part of course, the TalkSport Fan Network. Not part of the Jim White TalkSport Fan Network, just the TalkSport Fan Network. How is everybody? Good afternoon. I'm delighted to say that I am joined by my co-host Bryan. I was going to come up with some fancy put down there, Bryan, but I'll be honest, I couldn't think of one. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Obviously, um, I gave you fair warning of 12:30 today, so you weren't late for the people. Because obviously, I seen you were in a bit of strife yesterday, and poor Ash was panicking because she thought it was going to be the Ash solo
Aye.
pod. But no, you eventually got to your phone and realised the time, and yeah. So I was just making sure that the folks were getting their time's worth today.
Well, what I'm realizing is that right now it's just all members. Oh, yeah, it's just all members that are commenting. So I'm wondering if I've changed the settings to make it so that only members can comment. Nope. There's Ben. Oh, hello, Ben. Right, okay. Bryan, mate, I've no spoke to you for a while. How's things?
Not bad at all. Last time I obviously spoke to you was when you were up my neck of the woods, so it was a wee while ago. So yeah, I decided to take a wee jaunt over to Benidorm and see my mates because they had the holiday booked. So I just decided to join them for 2 or 3 days. So it was great. Yeah, just
I've got
two
a
or
wee,
three days.
I've got a story about Benidorm. If you want to hear it.
Oh, come on then.
So I went on holiday with my two mates years ago. Years ago, I was working for First Bus at the time. Right, I was driving for First Bus. And we went on holiday to Benidorm and we found this pub called the Gallagate Bar. Right? I don't know if it's still there. I don't know.
Yes, I remember this
Called the
story.
Gallagate Bar. And it was a husband and wife that had a daughter. Same age as me, I think she was. I think her name was Alana, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, went over there for a week or 10 days or whatever it was. And I got offered a job. So ended up, my mates went home. I stayed in Benidorm, moved in with Alana and her girlfriend, and stayed in Benidorm for a while, Bryan. And I'll tell you the rest of the stories off air, obviously. But yeah, yeah. I don't really know where else to take that, to be honest with you. I just remember that that's not really a story I can tell online.
Well, I was just thinking to myself, you've started, so you should finish. You know the old saying. You know.
I had a very, very good time over in Benidorm. It was a very good. I mean, it was like 15 years ago, to be fair. But yes, forever hold a place in my heart, Benidorm. That's where I was going with that. Right, okay. Bryan, I was saying this on the morning show that I don't know if you've noticed. I know that it was just an international break and stuff like that, right? But even though it's a 2-game week, you know, do you feel as if the kind of Rangers stories, Rangers news, Rangers media has kind of slowed right down?
Yeah, things have certainly went quiet, haven't they? You know, there's a big European game tomorrow night, and nobody's speaking about it, are they? It's all nothing's. You know, there's nothing really coming out. I mean, we had the social media team yesterday putting out was it training pictures and stuff on, you know, but there's been very little. There's been nothing to chat about. There's been nothing really to sort of moan about. There's been nothing to be sort of cheery about. It's been very sort of meh, isn't it? There's nothing really happening. So yeah, you'd be amazed to think there's actually a big Europa League tie tomorrow night because nobody's speaking about it.
No, they really aren't. Obviously, yeah, it is press conference day today. I don't know what time the presser's going to be on at. Normally they're about 2 o'clock, aren't they?
Yeah.
2-3 o'clock or something like that. Need a few days off from hating Russell Martin. It's- it is Super Ali's birthday today, though. I mean, look, I've got a few things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the defence. I want to talk about Mikey Moore because Stephen Robertson, again on the morning show, brought up a really good point about him. So I want to get into all that. But yeah, Super Ali's birthday.
Can we just have the next 25 minutes speaking about Super Ali? Is that all right?
I mean, if that's what the people watching want, that is what we shall do.
Just Yeah. I've still never met the man.
Never met him.
Still
Neither.
never met him. No.
You think with my TalkSport connections now, I might be able to get a chat with him, but wouldn't you?
Wait to say, you're such a big deal now, you know.
Oh, yeah, the biggest deal. That's why I get
Yeah.
the 2:15 in the morning slots on TalkSport. That's how
Folk
big
actually
a deal I am.
Folk actually forgot Paul Ross was still doing radio because he's on at fucking 2 a.m.
That's because nobody listens at that time, Brian. So,
Well, to be fair, I did the other morning when I was coming home from Benidorm. I did. Sunday
he's actually
morning.
he's a funny guy, Paul Ross, to be fair to him.
Yeah, he is.
To be fair, he is. He's quite a funny guy. We're obviously going to talk about the game more tomorrow. But we will touch on it slightly today, Bri. What's your thoughts and feelings going into the game tomorrow? Because, like you say, it has been quite a low key build up.
That might help the team. There's not been this mass build up for, a European game, so it might take a little bit of pressure off the team. And after beating Hibs, it would be. I dare say the team are quite pleased. I dare say the management are even more happy that there hasn't been this sort of furore of negativity surrounding this game, because I think if Hibs went the way that a lot of us expected, as in not to go through, then this game could have taken on a completely different sort of tone, couldn't it? I mean, because let's be honest, everybody's waiting for the next ball. I said it yesterday in the members show that we're all waiting for the next sort of negative fixture. Although I think Europe he'll maybe get a bye. I'm not sure Europe's those.
I think it depends, Brian, on the performance and result.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, like say tomorrow night, if we get scudded 4-0 at home, then I think then the knives would be completely sharpened and ready to go. But I think if it, like for example, Livingston on Sunday, I think if we come out of that game without winning, or depending on the manner of the result, I think then the knives are out. Everybody's, I think, Lewis and Ian said it both last night as well. Everybody's just waiting for that next loss or that next negative sort of bad game, and then the knives are back out. I mean, he got a little bit of goodwill back from the fans that we beat Hibs, but the performance maybe wasn't there. But a win and a clean sheet, so you could argue that was slight progress. But we shouldn't be speaking about slight progress and stuff like that at this stage of the season. That's just, it's nonsense talk. But here we are.
Right, let me just pull up London. Right now, if I have to explain what I meant by that, London, then I'm going to be here all week. If we have a horrendous performance and get beat 3 or 4-0 at home by a team currently sitting, let me just double check, 14th in the Belgian league, then aye. If we have a crap performance and win 1 or 2-0, then we move on to the next game. I actually have to explain that to some people, Brian, which honestly. But yeah, look, Genk sitting 14th in the Belgian league, and it's after 8 games, Brian. It's not after 2 or 3 games. 2 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses. 2 losses and a draw in the last 3 league games. And I mean, this isn't a team coming to Ibrox. This isn't a Borussia Dortmund. This isn't a Bayer Leverkusen coming to Ibrox. And Stephen Tennant's asking, how confident are we feeling ahead of tomorrow's game? Well, looking at Genk and looking at their recent performances and looking at their recent results, we should be extremely confident going into this game.
I was waiting to say, certainly after the weekend's performance, I'm feeling a bit more positive in the sense that, a win and a clean sheet against a team who, let's be honest, there wasn't many of us expecting to beat, at the weekend. Not many of us were thinking we were going to beat Hibs. So, to get that win, and as you say, when you look at how Genk have started their season, it's certainly not a Bruges sort of calibre team.
You could say, Brian, you could say that they've had a jank start.
Oh God, just stop it. It's terrible. I mean, I think Genk are more a conference team, if that's maybe a fair thing to say. I don't know. I think they got. Did they not go quite deep in the Conference League one year? Genk, I'm sure they did.
I don't know. Couldn't tell
Pretty
you.
sure they got fairly deep into that one year. I think it was the year West Ham won. I think I can't remember. But no, it's a game that we should, in all honesty, be very confident of winning. It shouldn't be a game where we're going into and going, oh dear, we're certainly not. I'm certainly more confident now than I was before the weekend. I wasn't really looking forward to this game, this time last week, but I think after the Hibs result, it's certainly perked me up a little bit and gives me a bit more hope.
I'll be honest with you, Brian, I get it because we won and because we made it to the semi-final of a cup. The performance against Hibs for me it's not done anything for me. I think there's some people who think that it was a better performance than what it was just because we won. And by the way, London, I drink coffee, my friend, not tea, because I'm a man.
I drink tea. I don't drink coffee.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point.
I'm saying nothing.
Well, you need to, because we're doing a podcast, so you need to say something.
No, I mean, we really should be. I mean, there's only a couple of games in this Europa League where we should be looking at and going, oof, like the Roma at home, for example, right? Let's be realistic. Roma's a fantastic team, big history in Europe. So that's the obvious sort of tie that we look at and we go, wow, that's a tough one, So, I mean, Genk, as I say, I would definitely think that we should be getting past Genk without, and I think as well, our sort of European sort of exploits over the last few seasons have proved that Europe's not our problem. We actually enjoy Europe because teams come at us and, actually, try and score goals. So it's a totally different sort of game. Whereas in the Scottish League, we're playing against a bank of 2-4s, and it's hard going to get through. So it's completely different games. It really is. So we're going into. I would like to think we're going into this game full of a little bit of confidence.
Now, I said we should be confident, right? At no point have I said that I'm confident. So I feel on a bit of. Do you know what it is? I've had a good sleep, Brian, for the first time in a long time, right? In Great Wall of Canada, Genk done well versus USG and Bruges, and you're confident, Martin? No. I'm not confident in any game we go into as Russell Martin as a manager. I have never said I'm confident. I'm saying we should be confident because Genk have had a horrible start to the season. But no, I don't trust us going into any game with Russell Martin as a manager of a football club. So yeah, Martin drinks coffee because he's a fan and doesn't realise there's more caffeine in tea. Tea, I don't want to get into this debate, right? But real men drink coffee. That's all I'm saying.
Real men drink tea.
Real men drink coffee. What coffee do you drink? Dow Egberts or Nescafe? Nescafe? I don't know. I drink whatever one the missus buys. Could be probably Lidl's own.
Martin does what he's told.
Yes, he does. But he also secretly orders another pint at the bar without his missus realising. So
that was the bravest move I've ever seen you do.
Oh God, that was fun. And I know, and I've got somewhere to go at New Year now as well.
You do.
Question from Jason Prince. Do you think Mikey Moore is out his depth? Right. Again, Stephen brought this up again this morning. I think it was Steve. I'm sure it was Stephen on the Morning Rabble, where he was talking about Mikey Moore getting played over Finlay Curtis, and I think Paul was well mentioned. Ant-Man should be in there. I've said my response to it this morning, Brian, was if we had bought Mikey Moore, if he was our player, then you play him through the rough times, you take him out of the team, you give him the break, you bring him back in, and bring him back. You do everything you can to help a young player get better. When we talk about loan players, and maybe this is just old-fashioned thinking, I don't know. You bring in a loan player 9 times out of 10 because either you're struggling in a position and it's getting late in the window and you need to bring a player in for cover, or you bring in a loan player who you financially can't afford to buy but who'll improve your team for that season. Mikey Moore's none of those, right? Mikey Moore's a young player who's going to be inconsistent because he's a winger, because all wingers are inconsistent. But he's also not played a lot of professional football. I know he played a bit in Tottenham's Europa League run, but he's not played a lot of football. But what he doesn't have at Rangers, for me, is the time to adapt. We can't give him 6 months to get used to the position and bed in slowly because he's a lone player who's gone back to Tottenham at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the chat I had with the Spurs pod, he was very sort of the attitude of he's going up there to play every game and he's going to come back down to Spurs and start in the Spurs first team. That was his attitude. Theo was very adamant that was what Spurs were. That's what they were expecting, and that's what they were wanting. And this is the sort of the problem you have with loaning guys from EPL teams is the fact that they want you to use their guy as much as possible so that when the season's over, they go back down to wherever they've came from and they're straight into their team. And that's what the Spurs guys are all expecting, that Mikey Moore's going to come up and sort of, tear it up and then go back down to Spurs and start in their first team. And they had no doubts that was going to be the case. But how many times have we seen guys come up from England and think it's going to be a cakewalk and not done well? So, he's only a 17-year-old lad, so it's an awful burden to put on a teenager, isn't it? And the expectation is there as well because obviously everybody's seen his price tag on transfer market and other places. So, he's a young player with a big reputation, and sometimes that's hard to live up to, isn't it? Oh, Martin.
Oh, shocking behaviour. What it's also doing, though, is taking a place of two players who are our players in Ant-Man and Curtis. And there's a lot of people in our comments I can see right now. There's a lot of people online saying that Finlay Curtis should be given a chance. And to be fair, he's not done anything wrong.
No, I'm afraid every time I've seen Finlay Curtis play, I think the first time I seen him up close was away to Aberdeen when I think it was the 2-2 game. We scored in the last minute, I think, or was it 2-1? I can't remember. One of the last games of last season, up at Pittodrie, and he acquitted himself very well. It was very pleasing to see a young player, start the game and take to it very well. And ever since then, he's whenever he's been called upon, he's done really well. He scored at Ibrox in Europe, and he's always looked like a player that's busy. And I mean, he came on. There was one game he came on, and changed the game completely. He was the man that came on and got everything going. And I can't remember, it was an away game somewhere.
St Mirren won it. He scored the goal.
Yeah, St Mirren, that's right. Yes, scored against St Mirren. So this is the scary thing. We've got an 18-year-old that we're starting to expect to do that now. We shouldn't be expecting an 18-year-old to do that for us. We've got far more experienced and older players that should be taking that mantle on and doing that instead of an 18-year-old. That's the scary thing. We're now looking at an 18-year-old as our sort of a savior to sort of come and either rescue a game or see out a game, and that shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't be relying on an 18-year-old kid, no matter how good he is. You know what I mean? So, no, I totally agree with that.
Well, Brian, I'm getting absolutely destroyed in the comments, man. Absolutely destroyed. Real men don't start podcasts late. Real men aren't on mute.
That's unfair. I tell you.
Listen, I've not been well the last few days. I'm trying my best, and all I do is get abuse. All I do.
It wouldn't be the Rabble without a bit of abuse, would it?
No. Did we start to see a bit more for Ant-Man in the Hibs game, Brian? Did we start to see a bit more of what he's capable of, or is it still just hold your horses, hold on?
I think it's hold your horses still. I think we seen. I think what we seen Ant-Man in the first game of the season. That was the first game he played. I think everybody was like, "Oh, here we go," and ever since then that we haven't seen that player, appear again. He's got largely gone missing. So we're needing to see the Ant-Man of the first game that he ever played for us, because that was an exciting player. That was a guy that was determined to take on players and attack defenses, and the same as Gassam. Gassam was the same. He was great at the start. He was tearing it up, and we were all thinking this is great. Two wingers, and because there was the Ant-Man made the run, he crossed it over, Gassam headed it in. Everybody was really excited. We were just looking for a number 9, and then we get Majowski, and you think, right, we've got a number 9 now who knows to score. We've got two wingers who are fast and exciting and can score. This is it. And then all of a sudden, it's just been very, very lackadaisical and very non-energetic, which is not what Russell Martin said he was going to do.
Can I just say, folks, right,
this real men thing went backfired on you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really backfired. Odd Bob's 100% correct, right? And what I will say is, this makes me a real man then, because as Bryan will attest to, I have not shaved my eyebrows, which I still continue to keep getting, honestly. Right, I kind of wanted to leave this until tomorrow to give us something to talk about, Bryan, right? But again, all my thoughts on the afternoon rabble are coming for the morning rabble this morning, which tells me that the people who watch are actually far more intelligent than me, right? But somebody asked about Cornelius and whether we should get him signed up to a permanent move as soon as possible. My response was wait and see. I think we need to give him a few more months to see how he settles in. But what I would say is, I think on the very few appearances that he's made so far, Bryan, he has looked a bit of an upgrade.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He's certainly looked better than what we've had for a long time, isn't it? So but as some people are saying in the sort of the comments, the common denominator in all this is Russell Martin. This is the problem. Is he actually stopping a lot of these guys from giving them the freedom to do? Let's be honest. Wingers need freedom, right? You can't be very rigid with wingers. You've got to let them have a degree of freedom, in the sense that you've got to let them make decisions on the button. They could be running down the wing, and then instead of the coach telling you, right, get down the wing and cross it in, there might be an option to go inside. So you give the winger the option to make that decision off the cuff. So that is where I feel sometimes that he's not allowing our more creative players and our more express players with a bit of sort of flexibility and a bit of freedom to express themselves. He's not allowing them to do that, I don't think. I think he's being far too rigid with them. As I say, there's certain midfielders that you've just got to roll with. Just let them be who they are, aka Nico Raskin. You've got to deal with them in a certain way, completely different from other players. So it's just annoying that he is not. Well, he might have done this with Raskin. He certainly hasn't done it yet with Gassam or Ant-Man. So we need Russell Martin to now let the shackles off the wingers and do what they do best, is taking on fullbacks and try to score goals and assists.
Yeah, this is just taking over the comments. So it is.
See, actually trying to speak without looking at your face and you're laughing. It's not easy.
Real men don't wear women's snooties. Real men do water aerobics. Real men don't go hill walking and swimming in Loch Lomond. What else have we got? Real men don't wear their missus' nightgowns. Well, I would agree with that. I
can see it sneaking into the corner there as well. just over your right shoulder.
It's a snooty. It's a Beetlejuice snooty, right? Well, oh, jeez, oh man. We should have just made this the Real Men's Podcast. Me and you, Brian, once a week, the Real Men's Podcast. What do you think?
I don't know. Oh, I don't know.
We can talk golf, cricket, anything apart from football.
Oh, cricket. We're doing an Ashes winner, we know.
Yes, we are. Yes.
Good.
Everybody watching's just went, oh, he's been on about cricket. There's really nothing to talk about. No, there isn't. Right, Meghoma, Brian, I think is one of those lone players who we sort of Mikey Moore could look at, I think, and go, right, that's how you settle in to a football club. Obviously, he's only on loan, but he has come in, and we complained at the very start, Brian. Right, we've got this young boy at left back. That's all we've really got. But I tell you what, he's probably been one of our best players.
You know, I was one of those that jumped on that bandwagon. I was very much we've only got a 19-year-old as a left back, really. But as you say, he's actually been very consistent and he's been very surprising. I didn't expect him to sort of be as good as he is, and yeah, I've been left to eat humble pie.
Sorry, Brian. Sorry, carry on.
And yeah, Meghoma's been one of the few shining lights this season so far. So Meghoma has surprised a lot of people. He's very attacking. He's very energetic. So he has been a breath of fresh air, and he's proved a lot of people wrong, me and yourself included. Probably a lot of the fans, because I think a lot of people were thinking he's barely played first team football for Brentford. You know, he's 19. You know, he was potentially going to be playing Champions League football, though it's Europa League. So that is a huge step up for a guy that's not played much, you know, first team football. So, but he's taken to it very well, and I'm actually quite pleased that he's proved everybody wrong. I really am, because this is the sort of move that could have buried him. This could have really, you know, ended badly for the lad, and nobody wants that. So I'm really pleased that he's actually done well, and he's taken on the left back role as well as he has.
And it's his maturity as well, and the fact that the confidence as well of the boy. He's more than happy to start shouting at his defenders when they're out of position, or shout at midfielders to move. He's settled in like he's been at Ibrox for a long time.
Yeah, and that's the mark of a good player, isn't it? He's 19, and he's not sort of scared or shirking the fact that he's going to have a go at his fellow defenders, regardless who they are. He's going to look at them and say, "Oh, you need to sort yourself out. You need to be here." And you know, because at the end of the day, he's not going to spend a lot of his time covering for somebody else, is he? Nobody likes to cover for somebody else, so he's going to be having the attitude of, well, I'll do my job, but I'm not doing your job. So you know, he's done. Yeah, he's as you say, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's been really good, and he's going to be an exciting player for Brentford going forward, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Job Blue Brighton Academy is superb. I'm sure it was Brentford we got Meghoma from, was it not?
But did he come from the Brighton Academy and then went to Brentford?
He might have, to be fair. Real men don't refer to one of the modern 7 wonders of the world as the guy in Brazil with his arms out. I'm pretty sure now if that clip's been shown, I'm banned from Brazil. To be brutally honest with you. Yeah. There was one day I was talking about something, right. and I couldn't remember it was Christ the Redeemer, because Brian knows my thoughts on religion, but I just couldn't remember, and I went, that guy in Brazil, big guy with his arms out, and people haven't let me forget it.
Big guy from Brazil with his arms out. I mean, jeez.
I couldn't remember the name.
It's one of the modern wonders of the world, and you don't know that.
I did know it, I just couldn't remember. Couldn't remember. Handyman's right. The rabble never forget. You never do forget. You are brutal people. Absolutely brutal people.
They're like elephants. They're like elephants, aren't they? Because elephants never forget.
Yes. Lyndon, I won't. I never will. Right, folks, that will do us for today. Like I say, we'll talk more about Genk tomorrow afternoon, and it is me and Bryan tomorrow afternoon, where we will dive more into this team selection. We'll dive into Genk. We'll dive into who we think should start. Will Martin change his philosophy? We'll dive into all that. It'll be a more professional show tomorrow. No real men chat, none of that. We'll be talking a lot more football. You happy with that, Bryan?
Do you realise you've just opened a can of worms?
I have, and I quite enjoy fishing. So sometimes that's good. We might even talk a little bit of cricket tomorrow. Who knows? I very much doubt it, but we might. Bryan, mate, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers to everybody to chat. Nice to be back in the afternoon. So, hello, everybody.
Have you enjoyed the show? Or look, see, even if you didn't like it, right? Do me a favour if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. Just hit the thumbs up anyway. Right? Just hit it anyway. Make sure that you're subscribed, because the majority of our viewers don't subscribe for some reason. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to help the podcast out a little bit more and you want access to loads more extra content, like Bryan was saying, the midweek members show was on last night. And we have loads more content coming your way for members as well. Then click the link in the description and choose your tier and become a member. You can either do it on YouTube or Patreon, whatever one you like. In London, I know that's not true. I know that you couldn't go without your daily dose of the rabble. And I know that when you click onto a video and I'm not on it, a wee part of you dies inside. I know that, London. It's all right. Don't have to pretend. You don't have to pretend you're a real man. Don't worry about it. Right, folks, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we shall speak very, very soon. I'm going to finish this before London gets a comment in.